Part 1.
Take the ice from the freezer, put it in a container to carry to the milk barn.
Note: a grocery bag will do just fine. They are to be found in the first gray freezer. Wait. Step 2.
Grab the tail to carry to the barn.
Side note: the goats will be bleeding like mad as soon as they see you.
They know it's time to be milked. It's best that they be milked every 12 hours.
Step 3.
Enter the goat barn. Undo the latch. This is important because the goats can break in and founder themselves by eating too much grain. Only let the 2 white goats that will be milked enter the barn. It is likely that the others will want to. If you raise your hand, it helps them know
Note the chicken.
they're not allowed. If the chickens try to come in, kick them. That can be one of the most frustrating things of milking the goats. The other goats trying to come in.
The goats also know who is to be milked first. As you see here, number 238, her name is Tigress. She gets milked first and she'll climb right up there. You want to take the other goat to be locked up, babe?
Yep.
That's Euphrates.
So Euphrates has to be tied up. Because if she's not tied up, she'll eat out of the place where the other goat being milked is eating as well.
And then we have to lock Tigress up in her stanchion.
Okay. But usually you need to put a little food in there first because she'll back out. So we'll model that even though there's a little bit of food already. This is oats. I usually pour the oats on one side and sweet pea on the other side. Up here, you move this over to the second place, which it has a little place where it's been used, so that it holds her head in there. And
Step 4.
the flies like to land on these things, and just in case they land on something that the milk will touch, I usually wash these off a little bit beforehand. So take it over to the utility sink, bring it down a little bit, make sure it gets hot. It takes the water just a second to get hot. We also take this one down and rinse it off before we use it. But before, the reason that they're hung up is so that all the water will drain out and it'll be good and clean when it's time to use it. So it's important that they're hung up each time after being used. There has to be a sill on the stainless steel container and the suction portion. So you have to push that on there and try and make sure that it lines up right here. Right now we're not lined up very well, so you have to turn it a little bit to the side. And then it'll click in a place, and then it'll click a second time, which ensures that it's down on there good. Now we're going to put the stainless steel milk container in the barrel of rock salt and water. And you can put the ice in when you first get in so that the water is already good and cold, which is a good idea. And I skipped. And this is to help fight bacteria by lowering the temperature of the milk as fast as possible. Then just lay. It's important to keep the goats busy eating while you're milking. If they're not busy eating, they'll probably try to get off the stand or kick the milkers off. They get frustrated when they don't have food, so you kind of keep fresh food in their pail. The left is oats and the right here is sweet pea. In addition to the regular feed, in order to help with their ruminants and different, I use half a cup of what says kid stuff.
Not half a cup.
Half a container here of kid stuff, and then half a little thing here Thorvin kelp. Now, Tigers doesn't like this as much as Euphrates does. This is the kelp. I keep the washcloths in this bottom tote container here, which is sealed so it doesn't get dirt. That's where the milk filters are. This is the first stage of cleaning the udder of the goat. So we're going to warm or wet this washcloth, which this sink only has hot water. We'll wet the washcloth, wring it out, and go over. And this is basically cleaning the udder. So you're going to pull, wipe it off real good. Where there's a lot of dirt outside, the goats lay in that dirt all day, and just this is the way you get most of that dirt off. We don't want the dirt in the milk. So our udder is going to be a little wet after you do this, as you can see the dirt come off. After you wash her off, it's best to dry off the udder as well, so that none of that mud or wetness that's nasty will get down into the teat cup. Now I use the same washcloths for both goats. So I just set it right here on this wipeout, and with half of a paper towel, so I can serve paper towels too. But the next step after her udder is dry is this dairy wipe. And now we're going to wipe her udder off with this. You wipe her udder off, and now you want to grab the teat and squirt just a drop. This is to get rid of the bacteria that can sit in at the end of the teat. So if she sits in bacteria at all or dirt at all, that one squeeze gets the bottom junk out. Now we will turn the pump on. There's a little switch right here at the edge of the pump. Takes it a second to kind of get going. And now on the milkers, there's a switch up and down. When you milk, you want that switch to be up. Right here. Okay, now we get down behind the goat, kind of bump it in to where you don't hit her. And you're going to put the teat cup on the teat, and the teat cup on the teat. Now, sometimes it will not grab immediately, which means the seal is not tight on the milk machine. It grabbed pretty fast with this there, and it takes it 5 seconds or so to start actually pulling the milk out.
Hitting the bag.
And it's good to hit the bag, which is what a baby goat would do to her mom to let her know to let the milk down. So it kind of helps them know it's time to let that milk down. Animals are creatures of habit, and I have got the goats in a habit of being brushed while the other goat is being milked. And this is diatomaceous earth, which helps with flies and fleas and ticks and all kinds of different insects we don't want. You just kind of put it down the line of the goat. Now you're not supposed to inhale this stuff, so you want to try not to inhale. And then you brush a goat like you brush a horse pretty much. Flip it at the end. And when you're milking, if there's a lot of flies, you'll notice that just by doing this, the fly population will decrease, or they'll at least go hide somewhere. Usually the goats really act like they like this. Right now, Euphrates is a little. The goats also like to have some water on hand to drink in between milkings or before milking. Both goats have one teat that empties before the other. The reason it's important too to milk out both udders is if we don't milk out both udders, the goat gets the signal to stop making milk. So they'll slowly dry off. So we want to try to get as much milk out of the goat each time so that we don't give them the signal to stop producing milk. And so this is another reason it's important to keep letting both udders be milked out. After milking, we wipe off the udder one last time with the dairy wipe, and I use the same dairy wipe for the post as well as for the pre. And then we have this udder balm to put on the udder after she's been milked. This helps her not dry out from having those suction cups on her and from running around in the dirt all day. This helps keep her udder and teat. Once you're done milking, just pull each teat cup off. Pull them underneath the goat. Turn the pump off. Hang them back up here. When it's time to switch, we usually let Tigress off first because Euphrates gets very excited. She knows it's her turn and she knows she's going to eat. So she'll pull on it, and sometimes you have to push her back because she won't let you unhook it, and then she goes, and now she will push Tigress out of the way. Tigress knows that it's time for her to move. And then we want to hook Tigress up over here. Make sure she has water and a little bit of something in the bucket there maybe. So she has something to do with it. Tigress loves to be loved. You'll watch her, she'll stop eating. She likes to be petted right here. And I believe it's a very important thing to have happy animals and animals that think that they're cared for or something of that nature. So this little bit of attention they seem to like even more than food, which is, I think, important. We want the animal to have dignity as well. After milking the second goat, wash your hands before going back to the
Handle the milk.
tote to handle the milk and pick up the filter. You grab the funnel here, you lay the filter down, and with touching it as little as possible, push it down in like that.
And as a reminder, the filters are over here in that bottom
Place
container.
the filter in the other milk pail. Take this part off and lay it down here. Try not to get milk anywhere. Grab the big handle, and that's what this little handle for, is to pour. And you want to try to hit the center as much as possible so that the cleaning of the funnel is not as important. Doesn't mean you don't clean it, it just means it's not as important. You want to hit the filter primarily. As soon as you get the milk in the container, remove the funnel and place the lid on as fast as possible so that milk touches the air almost.
Then put the milk back in the cold.
Then put the milk back in the cold. Okay, after getting rid of the milk, putting the milk in the container, start by washing out just the initial residue from the milk. And then wash with the Ajax, put a drop in, add a little water, scrub the entire inside of the container. Then wash the Ajax out.
Now he's cleaning the lid.
So clean the lid off. You want to pick up that seal. Make sure you get under that seal. And this water is very hot. It'll encourage you about the cleanliness. Push the seal back on. And then for a couple seconds, spray. First you want to move this back to down. That's the cleaning position. Move the teat cups down to the claw, down to the down position. Then you want to spray down inside that hole. And do it away from your face. Now we're going to put the pump back on the stainless steel container. Move it this way. We're going to take the bleach dairy detergent. We're going to pour it in this stainless steel bucket. You just want to put like a dime size. Then put this about 2 gallons of water in here. Just to hold this up at an angle and put these down right into the bend of the bottom of the stainless steel, and then turn the pump back on. And you'll watch it takes it really fast. And another thing, you can just hit the pump a little bit to ensure that it's getting the entire hose and not just parts of the hose. This ensures a good clean. So then you want to spray as if you're cleaning off the bottom stainless steel until the only thing coming through is clean water without that bleach residue. But at the same time, you don't want it to overfill here because that will mess up the pump. So it looks like the water we have coming through, pure water, there's no suds in here, no suds here. So turn it off and
you're clean.
This part is basically clean. We'll wash it off one more time. Just ensure that none of that bleach stayed on it, and then hang it back up. Now we have the funnel in the bottom. Of the sink. Now we're going to pour the stainless steel container into the funnel to get rid of the bleach material, the bleach water. One more time.
How about cleaning the outside?
Then you can hold it up and spray off the outside. But we don't want to use the same stuff when cleaning the outside as we clean the inside, because you don't want to share germs with the outside to the inside. The outside is not near as important as the inside, so you don't want to mess with your cleaning. Lastly, we will clean out the funnel, some Ajax, our sponge. And if you remember, there was only a couple of drops on this entire thing. So the milk very rarely should touch this. So, I mean, that doesn't mean you don't clean it, but it shouldn't be dependent upon this part.